Hey guys, it's Michael here with the I was about to say Wrestle Magic. That was the old name of this channel. No, Wrestling United YouTube channel, the Spreaker show. And I just got back into my car after class, and this is just, it's rather annoying, you know. I was trying to, I have a video that's going up that's going to be the Wrestling United first show, the first weekly show that's getting set up for YouTube. And I've tried to save this show that has a bunch of matches put together. I have Adam Cole versus Roman Reigns, as well as Ambrose and Seth Rollins versus Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, as well as matches like CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes and stuff like that for the All-Star Championship. I have a lot of these matches set up, and they're already done, and I'm just ready to show you guys. But the video editing software that I've used to put together is not saving them in a quick enough time, and because I had class, I had to take my computer with me so they can save, so I can upload it later. And I kid you not, my laptop either died or crashed a total of 4 times trying to save this file. Not only that, but it's like it was in the least opportune time to have crashed, because when it crashed, my file was 95% of the way there. I was almost done. It was almost saved. I can almost publish it. It was going to be up by this afternoon. And then my computer gives me the blue screen of death saying, hey, we ran into a problem. Your computer needs to restart. And I literally freaked out. I was cussing. It was really bad. But nevertheless, I just want to talk about some wrestling. Talk about some stuff that's happened in the world of wrestling. Give my thoughts on the Superstar Shakeup that's been happening over the past couple days. And I'm going to put up a full-length podcast on Saturday. But I just want to give my thoughts on what's happened so far and what I think. I just got through watching NXT this morning. And it was an awesome show, as always. NXT always seems to hit it out of the park. I wouldn't have opened it up any other way other than Johnny Gargano coming out and saying, look, I'm here, I'm ready to go. Thank you to everybody. And Tommaso Ciampa was nowhere to be heard from this episode, aside from a couple tweets that he sent out earlier that day. Even calling himself, he doesn't want to be called a wrestler. He transcends wrestling. He wants to be called Tommy Entertainment, which I think is hysterical. Tommaso Ciampa is perhaps the greatest heel today in WWE, and that's saying something, you know, because we always have these good people like The Miz, who's a good heel, but people are starting to appreciate him. You have people who are just despicable like Jinder Mahal, but people just don't like seeing his face. Tommaso Ciampa is a person who's not only good at his job, but he is probably the biggest a-hole that you could possibly see, at least the way that he acts in the ring and outside the ring. Talk about keeping kayfabe alive and well. Thank you, Tommaso. But nevertheless, Johnny Gargano was back, and the main event of the show was Candice LeRae versus Zelina Vega. It was a nice moment seeing both Andrade and Zelina tap out to their respective locks, Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. It was an awesome sight to see. I cannot wait to see what Andrade does on the main roster. For my opinion of Andrade, most people have this opinion too. He's like what Alberto would have been had WWE booked him right. Because Alberto Del Rio came in with all this promise and all this potential. He essentially is what would happen if Alberto Del Del Rio came in and was booked like the champion he should have been. Andrade is just awesome. And I really like his heel character. I like Zelina Vega. Really compliments him very well. And I cannot wait to see what they do on SmackDown. I am very excited about this Superstar Shakeup. I thought there was just going to be a handful of talent switching over, like 5 people switching, because that's kind of what happened last time they had the Superstar Shakeup. But no, 19 people were switched over to Raw, and 17 people were switched or called up to SmackDown. And I think that's just awesome. You know, these things are really just, to put it frank, shaken up. And the potential matches out of all of these, you could see matches like The Miz versus Daniel Bryan against Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. On one end, you could also see like Jinder Mahal versus Kurt Angle. It's not a stellar match by any means, but Patriot versus the Evil Foreigner, I would actually not mind seeing that. Just a lot of other matches and new opportunities have arisen from this shakeup, and I cannot wait for it to take effect and start molding things. We saw a little preview of that on SmackDown when Big Cass, of all people, is targeting Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan has become the focal point of SmackDown. He's been having multiple people talk to him. Dolph Ziggler, when he first got cleared, he said, "I can't wait to beat you." You didn't know Ziggler's on Raw now. But then you have The Miz coming over and feuding with Bryan. You have Big Cass potentially feuding with Bryan, especially after what happened this week. And you just have a lot of different stories and a lot of different things all focusing on Daniel Bryan. You see now how big of a superstar he truly is today, just by the amount of people who want to fight him. Samoa Joe even said, when he was switched over to SmackDown, which surprised the heck out of me, given his current stance with Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe even called Daniel Bryan out, saying, "Hey, look, I cannot wait to choke the life out of Daniel Bryan," which I think that just the thought of that matchup gets me very excited. So all in all, I think the shakeup was a really good thing. Granted, there were some like meaningless trades, like Zack Ryder or City Ascension to Raw and R-Truth to SmackDown, etc. Which they could still pull something out of the bag. I want us to remain optimistic here. But nevertheless, as a whole, this opens up a wealth of possibilities. You have the Absolution on SmackDown now, where Paige, want to see the dynamic with her and the other two, if Absolution will continue or be disbanded. Don't really know that yet. We don't really know a whole lot. But nevertheless, I'm very excited for the Superstar Shakeup. NXT and how it's going. Killer match with Killian Dane and Lars Sullivan. That was a nice match too. It was a no DQ match on NXT. I know I'm bouncing all over the place, but these Spreaker ones are just 15 minutes. I'm thinking I might upgrade to a pro standing. See where I can go from that. But nevertheless, I do want to say that I'm very excited for what's coming up. In other news, it's yesterday, Bruno Sammartinos had passed away at the age of 82. I started watching wrestling in 2003, so I never really got to experience Bruno. I'm only 20 years old. I never really had the chance to experience Bruno Sammartinos' work, but my dad has. My dad grew up, he was born in New York, and he was able to go to a couple of Bruno Sammartinos matches. I remember on the network, I looked up a old pay-per-view that had a Bruno Sammartino match that he thinks he went to. I'm trying to remember the name of who he fought. And so we typed it up and we watched it on the network. And the glee in his face, which showed exactly who Bruno was and what he meant to people like my dad, just reminiscing on that time and just how cool it was back then for him. That's kind of my personal take on Bruno, is that, he's kind of what people like John Cena or AJ Styles currently is to wrestling fans today. There's somebody to look up to, somebody like who is the top draw. I'm very excited. I was very happy to see that. I said excited way too much this podcast, but I'm very happy to see that from my dad and to see the happiness. I haven't really talked to him about what happened with Bruno. I don't even know if he knows. But hearing his life story on Legends with JBL was also inspiring. But I never really got to know a lot of his work personally. But he has made a definite impact on the business, whether you want to admit it if you're a fan of his or not in depth. But I think he had made an amazing impact, and he will be missed. And my thoughts and prayers go out to his family and anybody who was associated with him. Well, that's going to be it for this session of the Wrestling United Spreaker Show. My name is Michael Cruz. You can follow me on Twitter at MikeCruz1128, as well as subscribe to the Wrestling United YouTube channel. I also want to announce that the Wrestling United channel has its own Twitter page that you can follow at Unite Wrestling on Twitter, and just to see what kind of things we upload, as well as getting information on the channel, and also to ask questions. We love answering questions here. Check out this weekend. I'm going to try to have a full podcast up that's more than 15 minutes. Thank you guys so much for listening in. I appreciate you and love you guys. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.